Hi, this is Kate, and I'm here today with another at-home yoga practice. This time, I don't have a model because we're dealing with coronavirus and we're trying to keep, some social distancing. So today, I'm going to be teaching the class, and so you're not confused, I'll show you the things that are a little bit tricky or hard to explain verbally. But generally, when I teach anyways, I'm not doing the class, and you're probably going to be on your mats, lying down and really just listening to me anyways. So I thought for this class today, we would work on the third chakra. I think it's really good to keep this center active, especially right now. This center has to do with having clarity and discrimination, which is, when things are confusing. It's really confusing right now with all of the health crisis going on. Things are muddled. It's hard to know how to move forward. So when we're working with the third chakra, we're working with this energy of, it has to do with sight, being able to see clearly so that you can move forward and do something. It has to do with our effort. And a lot of us, I feel like right now, we're a little lost without our routines. But this can help us just activate the center, and then from a subtle place, hopefully our lives can move forward in harmony a little bit more. So we're going to start out in Shavasana today. So come to your mats, lie down. Oh, I forgot to tell you, a block is really the prop that we're going to need the most today. So if you have a block, go ahead and grab it. But then when you're ready, come down to Shavasana and just let yourself get settled. So you want your feet about, 1.5 feet apart, toes rolling out, arms away from your body, palms up, and feel the floor. Notice how your body feels. You can feel the clothes on your skin. Notice how they feel. Notice how your body feels, if there's anything that's vulnerable or you want to be careful of today as you practice. Move your attention to those places and give them some attention. And as you practice, keep them in mind. And once your awareness is in your body, then also notice your breath. And allow your breath to be easy. You can feel your belly rising on the inhale, releasing back on the exhale. And allow the rhythm of your breath to be calming to your body and mind. And allow the breath to be an anchor for your attention as you practice. And as you feel your breath in your abdomen, this is where we're focusing our attention today. So become sensitive to the energy at the abdominal center as much as you're able to. And as we move forward, keep coming back to that center with your attention. Okay, so when you're ready, bring your knees into your chest, hug them in. Relax around your thighs, your feet. Soften your shoulders. Feel your back along the floor, and you can start to rock from hip to hip. Massage your lower back. And then come back to center and stretch your feet up towards the ceiling. And from here, as you inhale, you can point your toes. And as you exhale, pull them back. And you want to let your movement follow the breath. So as you inhale, slowly point the toes, take the whole breath, and as you exhale, slowly pull the toes back. So you're just working back and forth. And then as you inhale, you can circle, rotate the ankles in one direction. Exhale, pull them back towards you. And then go in the other direction. And then come back to center, reach the soles of your feet up towards the ceiling. And as you inhale, slowly open your legs into a V, and as you exhale, close them. And this is where you still want to follow the breath. You want to take the whole inhale to open and the whole exhale to close. So keep following your breath with the movement, and you can start to link one breath into the next. So at the end of the inhale, you just relax and flow into the exhale. And at the exhale, you relax and flow into the inhale. And the next time your legs come open into a V, hold them there. And you can inhale, point your toes here, and exhale, pull them back. Just a couple times, and then reach the soles of your feet up towards the ceiling. And a lot of times in this one, people go too far apart. They just kind of let the legs really open up a lot, and they kind of hang on the joint. So wherever you are, think about bringing your legs together just an inch or so and holding there so that your inner thighs have to work. And notice what muscles are working here. What's holding you? You have some engagement in the lower belly, in the pelvis. Your psoas muscles are engaged, inner thighs. Notice what you feel holding you and supporting you in this pose. And then we'll reach your arms between your legs, and on your next exhale, lift your shoulders and your head up, reach your arms through, engaging the belly. So you're here, you want to let your breath be easy. Relax your face and shoulders, and allow the core muscles to hold you in place here. And if there's anything else kind of clenching up, you want to let that go as you work with your breath. Okay, and then bring your torso down, bring your legs together, bend your knees, and bring your feet down to the floor. And from here, you can widen your feet towards the width of your mat and bring your hands on your lower belly and let the legs sway from side to side. So let go of any tension around your hip joints, in your pelvis. Let your hands kind of glide over your lower belly as you go back and forth. And let the heat of what we just did kind of move out to the rest of your body. Okay, and then come back to center, bring your feet a little closer. We're going to take your block, and there's so many different ways to turn the block, but what you want to do is have it the medium way. So you want to have it this way in between your thighs. And so your feet are just about this far apart, not as close as in bridge, a little farther apart, but you're having the block the medium way. And we're going to start with kind of creating a structure so that we can get into the abdomen. So first, as you exhale, you're going to push your feet into the floor, squeeze the block, and tighten the glutes, hug around the hips. So you're toning the whole kind of back of the body. And as you inhale, release the glutes, the inner thighs, and your feet. So as you exhale, push your feet down firmly, squeeze the block, and tighten around the back of the hips. And as you inhale, slowly release. And you want this to be with the breath too. Exhaling, moving through the whole exhale all the way up to the glutes, and inhaling, releasing all the way back down all the way to the feet. And now that you've done this a couple times, we're going to really focus on more of the front of the body, the navel center. So you're going to do the same thing. As you exhale, push your feet in, push into the block, but now you're going to engage your pelvic floor, lower belly, and higher in the belly. And as you inhale, release higher in the belly, lower in the belly, and pelvic floor. So you're exhaling, contracting and drawing the pelvic floor up all the way through the higher in the belly. And then when you inhale, you're releasing all the way down. And you want to work with the breath here. And this is sort of like Agnisara on your back, but you move in a wave-like fashion. You have the support of the feet and the back of the hips. But as you exhale, you're really trying to get access into the abdomen, squeezing and drawing the belly up, and maybe even underneath the rib cage, a little bit of Uddiyana Bandha, and inhaling, releasing. And the next time you contract and squeeze, hold the contraction. So you're really engaged. Your feet are pushing down, you're pushing into the block, you're engaged through the pelvic floor, all the way up through the abdomen. Now reach your arms up over your head. Interlace your fingers, turn your palms up, and lengthen through the spine. So you have the support in the lower body, and you're lengthening through the spine, reaching up, And then find your breath within this. Let the breath be easy. And this pose is sort of like a chair pose on your back. And we'll try chair pose standing up. But you can feel like the energetics underneath the chair pose. You're very engaged here. So now release your hands and release the engagement through the belly, through the legs. And you can take your block out and bring your knees into your chest, hug them in. And you don't even have to really rock back and forth here. You can just relax here. Relax around your thighs, your feet. Find your breath. Notice the effects of that engagement and release. Okay, and then bring your arms out to T position, your feet back down to the floor, and you can shift your hips over to the right side, just an inch or so, and then bring your knees up towards your chest and let them move over to the left. And when you're doing this, it's not, you can just let the left leg relax against the floor easily. The right leg doesn't have to stack right on top. This is kind of like a lazy reclining twist. Letting the ground support you and softening, let yourself release into the floor. And you can bring your arms out to T position. Oh, they're already out T position, I'm sorry. Look over the right shoulder if that works for you. And we're gonna do something different with the arms now. So we're gonna put the left hand on the right side of the waist, right underneath the rib cage. And you can look up here if you're not sure. And then the other hand, the right hand comes behind on the back. And as you inhale, you let the breath expand into the hand. And as you exhale, relax. So just guide your attention to the breath right at the right side of the waist. And now we're gonna be a little bit more active with this. So as you exhale, contract right underneath your hands, both the front and the back if you can. Squeeze them towards one another. And as you inhale, release and open up. So exhaling, squeezing, drawing towards center, and inhaling, releasing. Seeing how much access you can get here. So we're twisting at the right side, and this is where the liver is. So when you squeeze, you're putting a little pressure on the liver, helping to cleanse. And when you inhale, you're releasing, letting the new nourishment come into that organ. Okay, and then bring your arms out to T position, legs back up to center. Touch your feet down and shift your hips over to the left, maybe an inch or so, and bring your legs up and over to the right. So the first thing really here is to get comfortable. So feel the floor. Notice if you're kind of pulling up away from the floor at all, and let yourself relax, settle down. You can look over your left shoulder and then bring the hands, right hand underneath the left rib cage and left hand behind the back. And as you inhale, let your breath move into your hands. And for the first couple, exhale, just relax. You don't have to squeeze. You can just feel the breath there, becoming sensitive to that area. And then on your next exhale, start to squeeze in both directions. And inhale, release. And on this side, we have the stomach. So just same thing. Sort of, these organs are all muscle. They're smooth muscle, but they're still muscle. And so squeezing around them helps to release any stagnation, any blockage within the organs. And when you inhale and release, new blood can make its way into that area. Okay, so let's bring the arms back out to T position, and we'll bring the legs up and feet back down. Shift the hips back to center. And then roll onto your side and come up to all fours. So we're now gonna come up to all fours and start to move a little bit more. So you may need a blanket underneath your knees if you have a hard floor, or you need a little bit of cushioning underneath the knees, so feel free to do that. And once you get into position here, start to move into cat-cow. So as you exhale, round through the pelvis, round through the back, and relax your shoulders and your head. And as you inhale, lift the tailbone up, open up through the front of the spine, lift the head, And then exhale, start at the pelvis again, rounding, and just notice how you feel in your back today. Get some more space, release tension around your spine. Good, and then come back to neutral, turn your toes under and press back into downward dog. And once you get into downward dog, you can pedal out your legs. We haven't done a whole lot with the hamstrings today because we're focusing on the navel center. So you can bend one knee and then the other. You can feel your toes spreading out as you flex your foot. And then come up high on your tiptoes and reach your hips way back. So shift the hips back, and from there, you can push into your hands. Give a nice little push into the floor and soften around the face, the throat, around the heart, but be firm pushing into the floor. And then you can relax the heels. And the heels don't have to come down to the floor. They can just be where you're comfortable. The main thing with this is the long spine. Soften your knees if you're not getting a long spine. So you can always soften the knees a little bit and then push into the hands to stimulate the heart and lungs and the throat center. Find your breath in downward dog. Notice where you feel your breath. Notice where you feel the movement and see if there's anywhere that you can relax around the breath so that it's easier. One of the things we're trying to do with our yoga practice is first becoming sensitive to the energy within the body, but then, setting up these poses so there's not a whole lot of effort. You have the effort to keep the pose, the integrity of the pose, but you're letting go of things that you don't need to so that the energy can flow. So notice where you can feel the energy flowing in downward dog, where you might be able to, if you need more support, engage a little bit more, or where you can soften so that the energy moves more freely through your body. And then on your next inhale, come forward into plank pose. And you want to tighten through your thighs, push out through your heels, engage through the navel center, and push down through the hands. Back of the neck is long, so it almost feels like the back of your head is in line with your sacrum. So those are kind of at the same points. And then you can let your breath flow easily. So now it's getting a little harder, but you want to keep your breath just as easy. Let go of any pauses between the breath, and then go ahead and press back into downward dog. Coming back into downward dog, pushing through your hands, softening around the shoulders and throat. Letting the breath be easy here. And then you can look between your hands and walk up into a forward fold. And you're going to hang out in the forward fold for a little bit. Let the weight come forward on towards your toes, or at least the arches of the feet. You can soften your knees if your hamstrings are tight. Let yourself take a couple breaths here. And then bring your hands up to your waist and come to halfway up. And then come all the way up to standing. And I'm going to come up to standing too, because this part is great because I can just demonstrate it. But we're going to be doing some different things with the navel center and some pranayama. We're going to incorporate some pranayama into this part of the practice. So I want you to be able to see what we're doing. But first we're going to just do Agnisara, or potentially, if it's in your practice, Uddiyana Bandha in a standing position. So you have your feet apart and you bring your hands down to your thighs. Sit back and let your weight drop into your hands so that you're fully supported. The shoulders can just come up to the ears and you're looking down at the floor. So you don't want to be looking up or you'll be stretching out the neck when we want to have the head back and the chin down a little bit. So just like we did on the floor, you can, as you exhale, you can push into your feet, engage around the back of the hips so you can get access and engage the pelvic floor, lower belly, and higher in the belly. And as you inhale, release back down. So this is with your own breath. Exhale, contracting, drawing the energy and all the way up into the core of your body, and inhale, releasing. So exhaling, drawing up, and if you practice Uddiyana Bandha, you can draw the belly in and lift it up underneath the rib cage, and then inhale, release back down. And just take a couple more breaths like this. And then after your next inhale, relax, stand back up, bring your feet a little closer together, and find your breath. So take your arms up over your head. You can turn your palms up, and you can just sway from side to side, just to open up the sides of the body after that a little bit, just back and forth. And then we'll come back to center and bring the arms down. So the next one, in a lot of the yoga poses, in most of them, there is a chakra focus. It's just we don't always talk about it. We're learning to get the body mechanics right. We're learning to incorporate the breath. But after you do that, to weave another thing into that, we can focus on one center. And for this next one, it is the navel center. So as we're doing this, you want to be able to do it. So it might take a little bit of time to learn it. But once you get moving with it, focus on your navel center as you work. So what we're going to do is have the hands down alongside, and as you inhale, lift up onto your toes and twist to the right. And as you exhale, come back to center and down. So everything lifts at the same time. Inhale, twist over to the other side, back to center and down. And just move with your breath. You want to try to stay balanced on your feet. Everything comes down at the same time, but focus on your navel center, twisting right at the navel center. Good, so just do a couple more. Inhaling up and twisting, exhaling and releasing and coming down. Okay, and then after your next one, we'll stay down and we're going to work on some breathing with asana, combining it. So this is a really nice way to get the whole system engaged and energized. This is called Bhastrika breath, and you may have done it in class. It really, if you don't breathe diaphragmatically, you're going to have a problem with this. This is assuming that you're breathing diaphragmatically. But if this is confusing, you can still do these exercises with a normal breath without Bhastrika breath. So for Bhastrika, there is some containment in the pelvic floor and in the lower belly that just stays there the whole time. So as you exhale, you can engage your pelvic floor, draw the belly in, and maybe put your hands right over the belly button. Take an inhale and exhale. It's almost like you have something in your nose and a bug in your nose and you're trying to get it out. So it's a sharp, and then it's a sharp inhale. Your belly presses back into your hands. So it's sometimes when we practice Bhastrika as part of our pranayama practice, it's a little faster, but we are going to connect it with movement, so we want to keep it so we're not moving too fast. So hopefully you have that, and if you don't, like I said, just breathe diaphragmatically. We're going to incorporate that breathing technique with a couple of different movements. And so they're kind of quick and sharp, but this is a really nice way to energize your system. So bring the hands right on top of the shoulders. And when you exhale, you bring your one elbow down and you lift the other one way up. And then as you inhale, you come back to center. So it's like this. So you can start. Bring your arms up and take a full inhale. Remember, a little bit of containment in the pelvic floor, soften your knees. And as you exhale, you can start. And then come back. And all of these different movements are going to be based on that breath. So for the next one, you're going to reach your arms out like this. And as you exhale, the sharp contraction and pull your hands back. So it's almost like you're reaching out on the inhale and pulling it back on the exhale. So bring your arms out and we can start. And you can add a leg. So it's and you can slow down. Okay, so the next one is sort of a version of this. You get it once you get the flow of it. It really does flow, and you feel a little bit energized. So notice how you're feeling in between these. So for this one, you reach your arms up, and as you exhale, you bring the one elbow to the opposite knee. So it's like this. So start whenever you're ready. Exhale and inhale, reach up, and you want to make them sharp, and you can focus on the navel center. So then we'll come back. Notice how you feel. Just go ahead and stand in mountain pose. Close your eyes, soften your knees. Notice how you feel, how the energy of your body is moving. Okay, and now everything should be awakened and alive. So we're going to practice our chair pose just like we practiced it on the floor here in standing. So this time grab your block, and we're not going to use the medium size, but we're going to use the short side because we're standing and we need a little bit more control. So put the block between your thighs, and you can bring your hands on your waist, squeeze the block, and sit back. And this is chair pose, and what you want to do is actually feel like there's a chair back there that you're trying to sit in, so that you're really sitting back. The weight can be over the arches or over the heels, a little bit further back in the legs. And you want to collect here, so push your feet down, push your thighs into the block, collect around your glutes, and you can lift your arms up. So there's some navel activation. And just like when you were lifting on the floor, you're really active through the arms. You can interlace your fingers and turn your palms up if you want the exact same configuration. But you want to breathe here. So there's a lot of activity, and you want to breathe within that space. And even though your body is engaged and working, you want your breath to be as easy as possible. Okay, and then from here, release your hands, bring them behind your back, and you can expand through the chest, and you're going to tip forward and come into a forward fold. And in this forward fold, we're going to use the block. So you're pressing down through the feet, you're pressing your legs into the block, lifting up through the pelvic floor, and lifting out through the heart. Let your head go. So we actually have the bandhas engaged here. So even though we're in a forward fold, which can be more relaxing for people, it's still engaged. We still have the energetic engagement. So you're squeezing the block, lifting up through your pelvic floor, reaching out through your heart and letting your head go. And you can let your breath move within that space. Okay, and then bring your hands back to your waist, come to halfway up, and then come all the way up, and you can take out the block. So now, hopefully, the navel center is activated, and we're going to move into sun salutations, which, this is our internal sun of our body. So this goes right along with our theme. So what I'm going to do is lead you through a couple just regular sun salutations. I will say I do something, everybody teaches sun salutations differently. And they're all good ways. Everybody, teachers do it they have a different intention, so they'll do it a little differently. And even the same teacher will teach it differently at different times. So I'm going to show you one version I use, just something you might not be used to. When you fold forward and you inhale back, I bring the foot back, knee down, and reach the arms up. And then exhale, always coming back. And then you would do the vinyasa in the middle. When you come back, you're inhaling forward, knee comes down, and arms sweep up, all in one fell swoop. So you'll get used to it, but that's what it looks like. So come to the front of your mat and bring your hands to Anjali Mudra. Find your breath. And as you inhale, reach your arms up. And exhale, fold forward into a forward fold. Inhale, step your right leg back and the arms sweep up. Exhale, hands come down and step back into downward dog. Inhale, forward into plank. And exhale, lower down, knees, chest, chin, or straight down in chaturanga. And inhale up into cobra. Exhale, press back into downward dog. Inhale, right leg comes forward, arms sweep up, left knee is down. And exhale, step up to a forward fold. Inhale all the way up to standing. And exhale to namaste. Okay, so inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward into a forward fold. Inhale, step the left leg back into a lunge. Reach the arms up. And then exhale, step back into downward dog. Inhale, forward into plank. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, up into cobra. You can come a little higher into up dog. Exhale, press back into downward dog. Inhale, left leg comes forward, arms sweep up. And then exhale, down and up to a forward fold. Inhale all the way up to standing. And exhale to namaste. So this is your first sun salutation. Notice how you feel. And when you're here, you can soften your knees. Bring your attention to your navel center. Feel the energy at the navel center. If it works for you, you can visualize a sun shining at the navel center. And then we're going to move into some more sun salutations with some standing poses in the center of them. So actually, before we even do this, have your block at the front of your mat. We're going to try half moon at some point, and sometimes people like a block for it. So just keep your block handy. Okay, so hands to Anjali Mudra. Inhale, reach your arms up. And exhale, fold forward into a forward fold. Inhale, step your right leg back behind you. And what we're going to do now is called mountain climbers. It's not a yoga term. It's just something that really helps to activate the legs and the core that we borrowed from some other techniques. So with your, what you're going to do is just switch here, the legs. So you jump forward, and we're going to just try this about 6 times, and you're going to have your left leg in front. So just go at your own pace, switching and jumping. And then at last, land with your left foot forward, and we'll go ahead and turn the right foot out, plant the right foot, and come into warrior 2 pose. So turn to the side of your mat. Okay, and push down through your feet, lift up through the spine, and reach out through the arms. And just feel like you have energy moving in all directions. So you're pushing down to the floor, you're using space, you're lifting up with the crown and reaching out with the arms, and your breath can just flow through this configuration. And then when you're ready, lean to the left and come into side angle pose. Push through both feet. Engage the pelvic floor, and you can engage a little bit between the hip bones, tighten the glutes, and hug around the tailbone so that you have a lot of support around the pelvis. And then you can kind of rotate your belly and your heart up, soften your shoulders, and find your breath. Let your breath be easy. And then circle your right hand down to your waist. Look down at the floor, and here's where we're going to come into half moon. So you can take your block, you move it maybe about a foot in front of your left foot because you need space for your spine to be long. And you rotate the body open to the side and reach your arm out. So if you're not sure, this is half moon. Yeah, so you're just reaching in all directions, trying to get into the space, and you're finding your breath here. Nice, easy breath. And if you're doing your practice at home, about 5 to 7 breaths is a nice way, if you're not being guided, is a nice amount of time in the poses. So from here, soften your left knee and step back into warrior two. And then you can windmill down into a lunge and step back into downward dog. Okay, inhale forward into plank. And exhale, lower down. Inhale up into cobra. And then exhale, press back into downward dog. As you inhale, step your right leg forward, and we're going to try the mountain climbers on this side. So just hopping back and forth, switch about 6 times. So whatever foot's in front, you're going to hop the other one and just go back and forth. Try to be, you don't want to be clunking around as much as you can. You want to lift up through the navel center. And then after about 6, you're going to land with your right foot in front. Turn out the left foot and come into warrior two on this side. So, take your time to adjust your feet, get into, the right position for you for warrior two. Feel like you're energized in all directions, but soften where you don't need to be. A lot of times the shoulders come up. Look at your pose and see from the inside and see, where am I working too hard? Where can I let go of effort? Maybe where am I not strong enough? Where do I need to engage a little bit more? Find your breath. And then we'll lean to the right and come into side angle. Push into the outer edge of the back foot and reach through the fingertips. Rotate the belly and the heart up. And once you're engaged around the in the pelvis and around the legs, you can soften around the heart and the throat so that the prana can move through those spaces. Really close to this plane here. Okay, and then we'll circle the left hand down to the waist, look down at the floor, and come up into half moon on this side. So if you're not, if you're having trouble balancing, you can always use your block. But the other thing is you don't have to come into the full expression of this pose. You don't have to be totally on your side. You can just work on balancing if that's where you are. The most important thing is having a refined breath and letting your breath, just keep backing off on your breath. Let your breath be natural, easy. You don't want to hear your breath. So not only when I think about it, I'm like, okay, I don't want to hear my breath audibly in the room. I also don't want to hear it in the body. I want to make it as subtle as possible. So wherever you are with your breath, see if you can back off. And then soften your right knee. Step back into warrior two. Windmill down into a lunge. And step back into downward dog. And now you can look forward in between your hands. And you can either walk up or you can draw the belly in and hop up. If you want to continue on with the mountain climber theme, into a forward fold. Inhale all the way up and exhale to namaste. Okay. Last side of the sun salutation. We're only doing 2 today. So inhale, reach your arms up, and exhale, fold forward into a forward fold. As you inhale, step your left leg back into a lunge. And we're going to walk the foot forward a little bit so we can stand up facing the front side of the mat for angle pose. So you don't have too much space in between your legs. But what you want to do here is you want your legs to be strong. So push through both legs. You can soften through the front knee a little bit. It doesn't need to be hyperextended. And then bring your hands behind your back, clasped. So this is the same kind of pattern that we did in chair pose when we went into the forward fold, but now we have a different pattern in our legs. Okay, so you can push through your legs, lift up through the crown, and open up through the heart a little bit. You want to keep the navel center activated so you stay long through your lower back. And then tip at your hips and come into angle pose. So this is an active pose. You can bring your hands down beside you if that's easier, or you can keep them behind your back, but you want to push down through the feet, and you can't hold a block between your thighs here, but if you could, you would be drawing up through the pelvic center, just like we did in the navel center, and you lengthen through the spine. Lift the heart up and head back, chin level at least. Finding your breath. Okay, and then from here, right leg is forward, so we're going to bring the left hand in towards the foot, maybe on your block, and you're going to twist open into a revolved triangle facing the right side. So when you do this, it's really easy to let the left hip sink down. You want to keep your hips level, so lift the left hip up in line and twist higher at the waist, at the shoulders, and see if you can find an easy breath. So this pose is challenging, so just do the best you can. You know, it is a twist, so see if you can lengthen through the spine. Sometimes that's what happens here, it kind of gets kind of curved. So you'll lift out, keep the left hip up, okay, and then release. Bring your hands back to the floor, soften the front knee and step back into downward dog. Find your breath in downward dog. Okay, inhale forward into plank. Exhale, lower down. Inhale up into cobra. And exhale, press back into downward dog. Inhale, left leg comes forward into a lunge, and you'll step right foot up a tiny bit, shorten your stance, and come up to standing, and we'll do the angle pose on this side. So you're gonna push through both feet, lengthen up through the spine, nice and active. Bring your hands behind your waist, and you tip at the hips. So you rotate the pelvis over the thigh bones, so start to come down, and you might even find a place where you kind of catch a little bit, and there you want to stop and breathe, and maybe lift and tip at the tailbone and tip at the pelvis even more, so you're rotating the pelvis over the thighs. Come into your expression of angle, push down through your feet, lift up through the inner thighs, pelvic floor, and even the belly. So drawing the belly, lift it up, lift out through the heart, and let the head be level. Even though you have that engagement, you can still breathe into that space. And then bring your hands down, and you can come into a revolved triangle on the other side. So you want to keep the right hip up as you twist. Lengthen out through the spine. And once you're in the position, let your breath flow through. Okay, and then release. Back down, and you can soften your front knee, step back into downward dog. And I'm going to help you with this one because it's just a transition that can be a little tricky. So we're in downward dog, and we're going to drop the knees, cross the ankles, and roll back to seated. And from here you can scoot forward on your mat, and we're going to lie all the way down and just do a little bit more navel center activation. So this is one of the 5 Tibetans, but we're not gonna, in 5 Tibetans you work up to doing it 21 times, and we're not gonna do that today. We're just gonna activate a little bit. So you reach your arms overhead, and as you exhale, you contract your belly, lift your legs, and just your shoulders and head peek up off the floor. And then as you inhale, you come down. So you're exhaling, lifting, and inhaling, lowering, and we're gonna do that, just keep doing it, maybe about 10, 11 times. Just to open and wake up the navel center. Exhaling, lifting things together, and inhaling, slowly releasing down. And then maybe do 2 more. Okay, and then release down. And you can bend your knees, bring your feet to the floor. You still have the arms overhead, so you can contract around the pelvis, around the navel center, and sit up, cross the legs and roll towards all fours and step back. We're going right back into downward dog. And we'll finish out the sun salutation. So look forward and you can hop up or you can walk up in between your hands. Inhale all the way up to standing and exhale to namaste. And again, observe yourself in mountain. You can bring your hands down. Notice how your energy feels after that sequence. Notice how your navel center feels. Notice if you feel more awake, alive, or just connected with that space. Okay, and then when you're ready, come all the way down to the floor into crocodile pose. So in crocodile pose, you cross your arms at your elbows, and you can rest your forehead on your forearms, and your legs are apart. Toes kind of turned out like the inner thighs on the floor, so that when you inhale, we're coming back to the breath. As you inhale, you feel your belly press down into the floor, and as you exhale, it releases. So sometimes, you know, our heart rate is up, we're breathing a little bit, you know, deeper or faster than we usually do. So it's okay to, you know, exaggerate this a little bit at first. When you inhale, really let the belly press into the floor, push it into the floor, and then inhale, draw it back. But then you want to transition and you want to use less effort. So the abdomen presses into the floor, but it does it by itself. You're not really trying. It just does it because that's the way your body works. And so you're just watching that kind of soft pressure into the floor on the inhale and release back on the exhale. Okay, and we'll try, bring the legs together, bring the arms down alongside you, have your chin or your forehead on the floor. If that's not comfortable, just turn your head. Just want to activate the back of the body a little bit. So as you exhale, tighten your glutes, lift your legs, lift your torso up. And the arms can lift up, they can be right down alongside you. If you want more of a challenge, they can be out to the side. More of a challenge is overhead. But if you have back problems, don't do the overhead, only if you feel really strong. So you're contracting all along the back of your body, but you're relaxing through the front of your body and finding your breath here. So let your breath be easy. Try to let one breath run into the next breath. And then go ahead and release down, turn your head to the side, and you can bend your knees, bring your feet up towards the ceiling, and just let your legs sway from side to side. Release the back. And then you can press back into kneeling. Sit to one side and bring your legs out in front of you. So we're just gonna do a couple final poses here before relaxation to try to get into the lower back and the abdomen a little bit. So for the first one, bend your right knee up, have about 1 inch between your foot and your leg, and you can hug the leg towards you and lift up through the spine. And we're gonna take the left hand and wrap it around, bring the right hand behind, and start to twist looking over the shoulder. So a pretty gentle twist. You want to feel the breath in the belly. As you inhale, the belly presses into the leg, and as you exhale, it releases. So focus on the breath in the abdomen. And then go ahead and untwist. Lift up nice and tall, and reach your right arm up, and you can hold the left hand on the right shin. And this is, you know, you can take, I'm going to show you steps to get into this pose. This is a Marichyasana forward fold. So you're lifting up, and the first step is just to tip forward, and you can bring your right hand somewhere along your left leg, or possibly take the foot. And this is a big stretch for the lower back, so you want to find your breath. And, you know, if you want to go further, you can take this right hand, turn the thumb down, so you're rotating your whole arm down, and you bring your hand around and meet it with the other hand, and you come into more of a forward fold here. And you want to keep the pressure into the foot, keep the thigh tight on the left leg, stay active. See if you can contract the pelvic floor, a little bit of navel engagement, and then you're breathing within that space. And if you find your breathing gets short or choppy, back out of the pose a little bit. Okay, and then go ahead and release and come back up. And we're going to try that on the other side. So lengthen, right leg out, bend the left knee in. Kind of hug it in and lift up through the spine. And you can hug around with the right arm, bring the left hand behind, coming into your twist. And then finding your breath here. You can push into the left foot, tighten through the right thigh, press the back of the thigh down. Feel your breath in your abdomen. And then go ahead and come on back. And here's where we hold the shin with the right hand and lift the left arm up. Tipping forward, you're just coming to somewhere along your leg or your foot and lengthening out. And you may feel a stretch here already, and in that case, you find your breath here. Or if you want to go further, you reach out, turn the palm down and wrap around. And you really want like the knee to be as far up in the underarm as possible. And tip forward. Just notice what you can let go of. So you can maybe, I was tightening my shoulders, so just soften the shoulders, push through the feet. Soften the throat, find your breath. And then go ahead and release and come on up. And I was planning this being a shorter class this time, but now it's turning out just to be as long as the other ones. So we're gonna have our final poses. Go ahead and lie down on your back, take your block, and when you get on your back, you're gonna come into a supported bridge. So you lift your hips up and slide the block under your sacrum and just let your hips rest down. You still wanna be up high in your shoulders, so you can lift up and kind of your fingertips up and come up a little higher on your shoulders. Bring your arms down. Find your breath here. And if you're interested, feeling like it's a good thing for you, you can lift your legs up into inverted action. Letting your breath be easy. And then go ahead and release your feet, staying in supported bridge for a couple more breaths. And then go ahead and lift up your hips, take out the block, and lower back down to the floor. And you can widen your feet towards the width of your mat and just let your legs rock back and forth again. Okay, and then we'll prepare for Shavasana. So final relaxation pose. If you're feeling fine, you can just extend your arms out and reach your legs out. You may want a blanket really thin under your head, or you can roll it up maybe the other way into a tube and put it underneath your knees if that's better for you. You want your body to be comfortable, so use props if you need them. But once you get into position, let yourself rest on the floor and notice the effects of your practice. How do you feel now? And you can take the time to make any adjustments in your body so that you're more comfortable. And if you notice any holding or tension on a subtle level, see if you can soften that so that the floor can support you. And then start to move your attention to your breath. So notice your breath in your abdomen again, and keep it natural. So your breath is flowing and your mind rests on your breath. But you want to let go of any tension around your breathing. So soften your abdominal muscles. And as you relax around your abdomen and your breath becomes more refined and easier, notice that it comes from a deep place in your abdomen. It unfolds from a deep place, and then it releases back there. So your body naturally breathes on its own, and your mind watches your body breathing. And then soften the muscles around your skull. Relax your forehead. Release down through your temples. Soften your eyes. Move down and relax around your cheeks and the little muscles around your nose. And you'll notice the breath flowing in and out of your nostrils. And you'll notice the breath flowing in and out of your nostrils. Soften your jaw, the muscles around your mouth. Release through the back of your neck and the front of your throat, down through the sides of your neck. Release down across the tops of your shoulders, down through your upper arms, your forearms, your wrists, palms of your hands, backs of your hands, through the roots of your fingers, all the way to your fingertips. And then release back up through your hands, up through your arms and shoulders. Relax your upper back, the muscles across your chest. Observe your heart area and notice if there's any holding around your heart, and see if you can soften. And then move your attention down to your abdomen, soften the abdominal muscles, lower back. And you can sense for your organs in your abdominal area, and see if you can let go of tension around your organs, so that the organs can also release with gravity towards the floor and you have space. Observe the energy at your navel center. Sense for the prana, the agni, the fire. It helps us digest both food, ideas, and become more able to discriminate. And like I said before, this is how we know things clearly. We know things, and we're able to then move forward, take action, become empowered. So rest with the energy at the navel center. And then release down through your pelvis, your hip joints, down around your thighs, down through your shins and your calves, your ankles, tops and bottoms of your feet, all the way to your toes. And then you can release back up through your feet, up through your legs, up through your pelvis and your torso, down through your arms and hands, and then back up through your neck, your face, and your head. Observe your whole body resting. Feel like your body is a space and your breath moves within the space. And then you can start to feel your body resting on the floor, hear the sounds around you, move your fingers and toes. Bend your knees and place your feet on the floor. And then roll onto your side, taking a couple breaths on your side. And then when you're ready, come up to a seated position. And when you're in the seated position, you can bring your attention to your heart center, bring your hands to Anjali Mudra, focusing on the heart, having gratitude for your practice and for the physical benefits of the practice, but also the more subtle aspects of your practice that move you towards health and balance so that you can bring this harmony into the world around you. And then you can fold forward to see all the benefits of your practice. And coming up to center. Namaste. I hope you have a great day, and I hope you come back and practice again.